following is a presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Welcome to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network. The Flames Clubhouse Report is brought to you by Fakes Jewelers. Since 1930, trusted for generations. Stay tuned for the latest views on Liberty Flames baseball, a look around the ASUN Conference, and we'll catch up with Flames head coach Scott Jackson. Now, here's the voice of Flames baseball, Nick Pierce.
Hello and welcome back to college baseball season. Boy, does it feel good to say that. Nick Pierce with you on this first edition of the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report here in 2021. And we are in the final hours before opening day of college baseball. The Flames on the road this weekend. Liberty with a 3-game series against former Big South foes, the Campbell Camels, here in Bowie's Creek, North Carolina. That's where we come to you with this week's show as the Flames and the Camels get set to do battle and renew pleasantries. It'll be the first meeting since these two clubs crossed paths in the 2018 Big South Conference tournament. But the Flames, they're just ready to play some baseball. I don't know that it really matters who it's against as long as it's not against each other. You got to go back to March 11th of 2020, the last time the Flames played a competitive baseball game that mattered, one that was not an inter-squad scrimmage. And then, of course, the world stopped turning. COVID-19 hit. The pandemic took the entire world by storm, not just the United States, but certainly a big impact on college athletics. March 11th, the Flames lost a game at West Virginia. Then March 12th, we're supposed to bus to Columbus, Ohio to take on Ohio State in a 3-game series that weekend. And en route to Columbus, the news broke that the NCAA tournament, March Madness, had been canceled. And then, of course, following suit was the College World Series, and then everything came to a screeching halt. But thankfully, even though we are not fully back to what we would call a normal life yet, we're certainly moving in the right direction and getting college athletics back, having college football in the fall, college basketball now, and certainly college baseball coming up here in the spring. Those are all steps in the right direction. So we're excited to bring you Flames baseball, and we've certainly got a lot to talk about here today. We've got some great guests lined up for you. On the show, we will speak with the head coach of the Flames, entering year number 5 now, Scott Jackson. Boy, that's hard to believe. And Coach Jackson has done a tremendous job here with his program. Of course, the last full season that the Flames competed in, they won it all. ASUN champions in 2019, went to a regional in Chapel Hill. This year, the Flames picked to repeat as conference champions in what should be a very deep and talented ASUN conference. We'll talk more about that in just a bit. But also, we will chat with Flames fifth-year senior shortstop Cam Locklear, who was granted the extra year of eligibility with the pandemic wiping out everything. Remember, last year was supposed to be Locklear's senior year, but Locklear granted, along with Trey McDyer, the extra year of eligibility. Garrett Price, Ben Highfill, a couple of seniors that were also granted those opportunities, but elected to move on to the next chapters of their lives, and we certainly wish them all the best. But the Flames are certainly happy to have McDyer and Locklear back in the fold. So we're going to talk with Locklear here in just a little bit. He's the ASUN preseason Defensive Player of the Year, preseason all-conference selection. Also in this episode, we will catch up with Flames starting pitcher, left-hander Mason Meyer. He will get the ball on Sunday in the 3rd game of this series against Campbell. And we'll chat with Mason about his preparation here for this 2021 campaign. For now, I want to focus in on the Flames and what they have returning here, and certainly a lot to be excited about, as we said. Also, the Flames are a little healthier now this year. They get Logan Matthew back at first base. Remember, he was going to be sidelined all of last year with a knee injury. And in 2019, he led the club with 7 home runs and 52 RBIs. And led the ASUN with 52 RBIs, in fact. So Logan Matthew, preseason all-conference this year. I think that really speaks to how the coaches and everyone that follows ASUN baseball feels about Logan Matthew. Young man that missed all of last year with an injury, and he still gets the all-conference preseason nod here this year. Flames also have Gray Betts on the preseason all-conference team as well. He's listed as an outfielder, but you're probably going to see Betts do some catching as well this year as the Flames try to nurse Brady Gulikowski back from an injury. Gulikowski has been cleared to go, though, so that's a good thing after suffering the ACL injury over the summer last year. Also, the Flames will get a little healthier up the middle. Will Wagner back from the injury. Remember that foot injury that he suffered on opening day last year that really gave him problems and slowed down his progress at the beginning of the season. It's going to be nice to have a healthy Will Wagner and a healthy Logan Matthew, a couple of big left-handed bats that can really contribute to putting runs on the board for the Flames. Having those guys at 100% here to start the season. The Flames do lose 2/3 of their weekend rotation. Noah Skiro signing pro with the Phillies in the offseason. Joe Adametz sidelined this year with Tommy John surgery. So it is a little bit of give and take in the injury department, I guess. But the Flames certainly did bring in some talented arms to fill those spots. Trevor DeLate, a senior transfer from the University of Maine. You may remember that name. Liberty faced DeLate a couple of years ago when Maine came down to Lynchburg and played the Flames in a 3-game series. So Trevor DeLate, who was slated to be one of their weekend starters last year, will be the Friday starter here this year for the Flames. At least he will start on opening day against Campbell. Good, solid left-hander, experienced veteran, strike thrower, and should be a lot of fun to watch him. Then you've got a right-hander going on Saturday in Trey Gibson. Freshman, and maybe as talented a freshman as the Flames have had on the mound, and that's really saying something. But this kid is the real deal. He's the whole package. Hard-throwing, big-body right-hander, and a Virginia kid as well. Will be a lot of fun to watch him throw on Saturday. And then Sunday, you get that 1/3 of your rotation back from last year, Mason Meyer, who, of course, we're going to visit with a little later. But Meyer, you pretty much know what you're going to get out of him as well. Competitor, strike thrower, gives you a chance to win every time he goes out there. Flames do return Landon Riley in the bullpen, and they've got some other pieces down there as well. Some new faces, some guys that are coming back. They lose Garrett Price, certainly that's a big loss, but they feel like that they've got the pieces in place to piece the thing together in the late innings. So, and that's what you really need, obviously, in college baseball, is you've got to be able to get the big outs late in the ball games. Not just college baseball, baseball at any level. You've got to be able to get those big outs late in the games, and the Flames feel like they've got enough in the back end to do that. So, certainly a lot to be excited about here. This is a team that should be in the mix to win the ASUN championship, but certainly will be challenged as we look around the rest of the ASUN conference. Speaking of the ASUN, let's take a look around the rest of the league.
Now it's time for this week's ASUN Notebook.
In 2021, the ASUN Conference should be as competitive as it ever has been. 3 teams earned multiple first-place votes in the coaches' preseason poll, and those top 3 teams, Liberty, Stetson, and Florida Gulf Coast, respectively, are separated by a total of 10 votes. Perhaps no team was as disappointed to see the 2020 season halted as Stetson. The Hatters were 11-4 when the pandemic wiped out the year. This spring, head coach Steve Tremper's team returns an embarrassment of riches in pitching depth, which he'll need after hearing that left-handed starter Daniel Perrette could miss the entire year with a shoulder injury. The Hatters open the year at home this weekend with a 4-game set against Florida A&M. Hey, speaking of pitching, Florida Gulf Coast returns preseason all-conference starter Mason Studstill and a talented bullpen that figures to keep them firmly in the mix for the conference crown. The Eagles also have experienced hitters and a head coach in Dave Toilette who knows how to win. FGCU opens the season on Saturday with a doubleheader at the University of South Florida. After the top 3, Lipscomb checks in at number 4. The Bisons will host Murray State this weekend. Jacksonville at number 5 is just 3 years removed from winning the ASUN tournament title. Veteran head coach and JU alumnus Chris Hayes says his club has its work cut out for it.
This is going to be a super competitive season opener, and this entire year is going to be super competitive. I mean, there's the way our schedule is set up and the way it's stacked with the quality of opponent that we have on the schedule. I would expect our schedule to be probably one of the more difficult in the country, especially with who we're playing. I think it's 75% of our games are against the state of Florida.
The Dolphins will open their season at home this weekend in a 3-game set against Miami of Ohio. Jacksonville will be in the thick of a tough South Division in the conference. With the challenges of travel in the midst of the pandemic this year, the ASUN is split into a North and South Division, with each division's top 2 clubs hosting a best-of-3 division series against the 3 and 4 seeds. The winners of those series will then move on to play a 4-team double-elimination style tournament the following weekend in Jacksonville to determine the ASUN champion. Elsewhere this weekend, Kennesaw State will host St. Louis. North Alabama is at Mercer. The University of North Florida visits number 24 Florida State, and conference newcomer Bellarmine travels to crosstown foe and 5th-ranked Louisville for a 3-game series. That's all we've got for this week's ASUN Notebook. But hey, we're just getting started on this edition of the Flames Clubhouse Report. Stick around. Coming up on the other side, we'll chat with 5th-year shortstop, senior Cam Locklear, as he embarks on his final year of college baseball and talks about the reprieve he was given when all seniors were granted the extra year of eligibility because of the pandemic. That's all coming up on the other side. You're locked in to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report presented by Fink's Jewelers from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network.
Back-to-back Cure Bowl champions.
Explode! The Flames won!
Ranked 17th in the nation. Wins over Virginia Tech and Syracuse.
The Flames wrap up the hook.
Flames Nation, we're just getting started. Be at Williams Stadium this fall for Liberty Flames football. Head coach Hugh Freeze and the Flames are looking to win their 3rd straight bowl game. Season tickets start at just $70, a savings of 51% from single game prices. Get yours now at lufootball.com. Now, back to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, presented by Fink's Jewelers.
Welcome back to this week's Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, first edition of the 2021 season. My name is Nick Pierce. Pleasure now to be joined by Flames 5th-year shortstop Cam Locklear as the Flames prepare to take on the Campbell Camels this weekend. Road series coming up to start the 21 season. And Cam, talk about a 5th-year senior, but it's been 11 months since this team has played an actual baseball game. How excited are you to get back in a dugout and get back on the field?
Oh man, it's great. Like you said, we've been out for 11 months. This summer I wasn't even sure if I was going to come back to play baseball, but now just given the opportunity to come back and play again, and it's just truly a blessing. And I think I can speak for all the guys. They're super excited.
You had a job lined up initially with the Air Force, and then obviously COVID hits, and you have the opportunity to come back to school. And now it looks like that could still be a thing for you, an opportunity for you after you're done with school. But it just so worked out that you're able to come back and play again.
Yeah. So that's definitely still the things that I want to do. So I'm back here working on my master's, and hopefully if everything works out, I could still maybe go play pro ball for a year or two, and if given the opportunity. But yeah, the Air Force is still there, and it's, just kind of slowed down with this COVID stuff. But I'm definitely excited for the future.
Flames shortstop Cam Locklear with us on the Flames Clubhouse Report. And Cam, you hit last year over 317 ball games, small sample size, but you were off to a hot start. How disappointing was it when the season stopped right there and you're having such a great year?
It's a bunch of different emotions, like thinking I was never going to play baseball again. And I felt like that was going to be my year, I just felt good. It was my senior season. I was seeing the ball great. And, so it was disappointing for sure at the time. But, now I feel like I got, that second chance, that second life again. And now I feel even better going into it this year with this team.
You feel like you can kind of carry that over now? I mean, it's with as long as it's been. I know you've been through fall practices and scrimmages, but didn't play summer ball. There was no summer ball here this past summer. And, now with so much time off, how tough is it going to be to carry that over?
I think it'll be fine. Coach Jackson does a really great job of preparing us. I've got to see, live pitching and scrimmages, and, I felt like I've played pretty well in those, and I feel like I'm still seeing the ball great. I'm still young and athletic and ready to move. And, so I think it'll transition over well, and I think I'll be, a key part of this year's team success.
Flame shortstop Cam Locklear with us here, and you talk about being young and athletic. You've also added some weight in the weight room. You feel stronger? Do you feel a little bit better maybe even than you did last year?
Yeah, I feel like, maybe that little bit of grown man strength, if that's what they call it, I guess. I don't know. I'm 23 now, so I'm getting older. So, yeah, I feel a little bigger, a little stronger, definitely gained some weight. Brett Nethery, our strength coach, is, doing a great job with us. He's pushing us hard. And so, yes.
Well, you're not too old, but, eventually you'll have to start watching what you eat,
Right.
Not yet. You still got plenty of years left before that. Looking at Campbell coming up here this weekend, that's a team that's picked to win the Big South Conference, team you've played against in your career. We were talking before we came on here. You homered against them the last time you were down there in that ballpark a couple of years ago. How excited are you to get down there and play near your hometown?
Oh, I'm super excited. Opening day weekend's just awesome. There's nothing like it. So to be able to go down there and play close to home would be nice. Fortunately, I don't think many fans are going to be able to show up due to COVID, but I still think the energy will be there just because, like you said, we haven't played in 11 months. And I think everybody's just super excited just to compete again.
Yeah, what is it? What makes opening day weekend special? You talk about it being a different kind of vibe and just how special it is. What makes it special for players?
It's just the adrenaline, the nervousness, the antsiness. It's like, first time competing, you're going up against another team. So, during those scrimmages, you got half the team split up, and then you actually get into the season. You got 35 guys in one dugout rooting for you, and like it's not split up. They're not rooting to get you at the time, so it's just like, you got your whole team on your back. You're playing for your university, and it's just like, you're going up against another university, and it's just, special. It's cool, just a competition. And
also too, with the long layoff, I mean, this is the longest off season I think in college baseball history. It probably adds just that little bit bunch more, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, sir, it does.
Visiting with Cam Locklear here on the Flames Clubhouse Report. Last couple of things as we get ready for this season. We talk about you putting a little weight on, the hot start you were off to last year. What are you expecting from yourself at the plate this year and from an offensive standpoint? Because I think we all know defensively, the fans know what they're going to get out of you. You're confident. Your ability is just, there on the defensive end. But from an offensive standpoint, what are you expecting from yourself?
I see myself continuing where I left off last year, and just continuing that. I think I'll be a key part of this lineup offensively this year. And, just getting older, getting more mature, just being able to see pitches better, even though, we've been off 11 months. I don't think that's really hindered me too much because we've been in here training. But I think, each year I've continued to get better, so I just hope to carry that on this year and keep it going.
And you've had to face some of these new pitchers that the Flames have here this year. What do you think about guys like Trevor DeLate, Trey Gibson, some of these new arms that have come in?
Oh, yeah, they're great. Yeah, and I think that was the big thing for our team this year is, the hitters have been able to see some pitching from different angles and different velocities and things like that, which is going to translate, towards these teams that we haven't seen. I think everything that we have is what we're going to see from these other schools, and so it's just been good to be able to, face these guys and kind of just see that type of pitching.
Flames shortstop Cam Locklear with us here on the Flames Clubhouse Report. Cam, we appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing you back out there at short again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Nick.
Appreciate the time of Liberty fifth-year senior shortstop Cam Locklear. Stick around. We've got more coming up on the Flames Clubhouse Report. A little later, we'll chat with head coach Scott Jackson. But up next, we'll visit with senior left-hander Mason Meyer.
Hi, I'm I'm Carly.
And I'm Tinny.
And we're members of the Flames Kids Club presented by Chick-fil-A. And for only $25, kids 12 and under can become a member too. Being a member of the Flames Kids Club is so cool. Club benefits include getting into games for free and invitations to member-only Chick-fil-A celebrations. More information about the Flames Kids Club presented by Chick-fil-A is available at libertyflames.com.
Go Flames!
Now, back to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, presented by Fink's Jewelers.
Flames Clubhouse Report continues as we chat now with Liberty left-hander Mason Meyer, a fourth-year junior, as we're going to have to get used to some of this terminology here this year with the status changes and with COVID last year cutting off the season. Can be a little bit confusing at times, but Mason, we know it's your fourth year in college, your third year with the Flames. How are you feeling coming into the 2021 season?
I feel great. I feel excited to just get back on the field with playing a different team, and this inter squad has been quite long, playing the same guys, facing the same hitters. But yeah, we're just excited to face a different jersey and a different school and get the season going. Is it fun to go out on the road as much as you guys are going to here to the start of the season, just given the fact that you've been around each other so much, you've been in your own ballpark so much, just to kind of get a change of scenery? It is, especially when it's cold, like the Lynchburg weather has been the past couple of weeks. So going down south to Campbell, and then we'll get some Fort Worth weather, and then that Orlando trip will be quite nice. I'm sure we'll try to get some 80-degree weather because it's been snowing up here for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, the road sounds tiring, but with the weather, it's pretty exciting to see the weather where we're going, and it's seen it pretty warm. So yeah. Flames pitcher Mason Meyer with us on the Clubhouse Report. Let's talk about your preparation, because with COVID cutting things off last year, I mean, you've essentially lost an entire season of playing ball with college and with summer ball. I know you're facing live hitters, you're doing scrimmages and things like that, but do you feel like that you've still been able to develop and get better as a pitcher? I do. Yeah, we had this time to figure out some different stuff that I could plug into my routine and my preparation. So I feel quite prepared. And at the end of the day, yeah, there's a guy standing in the box, but you just got to do you and don't really get overwhelmed by someone standing in the box with a bat that may or may not get a hit off you. So no, it doesn't change much with COVID that I haven't really faced a guy in the box since last March or last February. So no. I know that pitchers tend to be creatures of habit. You talked about your routine and maybe, changing a few little things here and there. Is there anything drastic that you've changed in your routine, or what is your routine looking like in between starts now? Not too drastic, no. I've added some and subtracted some. I haven't really totally changed it because I felt like last year it was a pretty good routine. So no, the big thing is just that start date, just figuring out what the timing, when am I going to start throwing, or when am I going to get on the mound, and changing the routine. You gotta plug in those times of when you're going to do that dynamic warm up or whatnot. So no, it really doesn't change it. And these inter squads, it helps to try new things. And if it works, then you can put it on paper, and it's really not as hard as it sounds. Flames lefty Mason Meyer with us on the Clubhouse Report. What is a starting day like for you when you know you're going to be starting a ball game? You wake up that morning. Is it any different than any other day, or are you listening to music? Do you eat a certain thing? Are you superstitious at all? Those types of things. Yeah, I would be lying to you if I told you I wasn't thinking about the start. But no, I've learned over the years with South Carolina, I woke up at 6 a.m. and guys still give me crap about it. I had my headphones on and I was ready to go. But as I've gotten older and a little bit more smarter, I've learned that maybe I don't think about the game till an hour out, or I turn on Golf Channel and I just forget about it. So I have learned to balance that, like when to turn it on and when to turn it off, and how to control your emotions. Yet it is a very hard thing to do, especially if you're an energetic guy and you throw once a week, so you're looking for that day the whole week, and it is tough. So hopefully I can pour into these younger guys and show them my mistakes in the past and say, hey, this is what I did wrong, or this is what I did right, and try to help them learn from, so they don't have to learn from their own mistakes. They can just learn from mine.
What time was that South Carolina game that you got up at 6 a.m. for? What time was the game?
I don't remember. I think it
was
might
at least an afternoon game.
yeah. I think it was a 4:00 start, and Coach Williams always jokes because he's always like, yeah, you've already thrown your first pitch and it's like 2 hours out. So I probably threw my first pitch at about 7:30 a.m. that game. But yeah, no, it's funny to look back on it, but no, I'm kind of glad, not glad, but it was good in hindsight, because I learned a lot from that game, and I learned a lot from as a preparation standpoint with that game and with that whole day, actually. So I'll go to breakfast, and instead of having my headphones in and not talking to anyone, I'll goof around with the guys and just be me. You gotta do what works for you, and some guys are like that. I mean, some guys are very ultra focused, and you don't talk to them the whole day or even 2 days before their start, and props to them, but I don't have the brain capacity to do that, and the stamina to really do that. So
Flames pitcher Mason Meyer with us on the Flames Clubhouse Report. Last few things here. Facing some of these hitters in the lineup, Logan Matthew back now, Will Wagner back healthy after the injury last year to him early on, Cam Locklear coming back again here this year. How tough is this lineup going to be for opposing pitchers? Just looking at, want to ask you from the offensive standpoint for what you guys have.
Yeah, I was talking to Will about this the other day, and I'm going to be so excited to sitting in that dugout on Friday night and watching Will Wagner and the Logan Matthews hit doubles and home runs off someone but Mason Meyer. It has been quite challenging to face them week in and week out, and quite frankly, I've gotten tired of throwing to them because they can do some damage to you if you're not careful. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for our lineup. I mean, we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of good things this year on the offensive side. So yeah, getting back to that, I'm going to be happy that I don't have to throw a 3-2 changeup, blowing it in on Logan Matthew or figure out how to get Brandon Rohr out, because I swear I would love to see his batting average against me during inter squad, because those guys are guys that I have a lot of respect for on and off the field.
Well, hopefully we see him hitting some doubles and homers all around the yard at Campbell here coming up this weekend. I'm sure you'd love that, especially on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I would.
Mason, appreciate the time. Good luck coming up this weekend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
That's your starting pitcher for Sunday, folks. Left-hander Mason Meyer. Stick around on the other side. We will visit with the head coach. Scott Jackson stops by for his preseason thoughts, presented by Beacon Credit Union. Up next on the Flames Clubhouse Report.
Back-to-back Cure Bowl champion.
Blow! The Flames won!
Ranked 17th in the nation. Wins over Virginia Tech and Syracuse.
The Flames wrap up the hook.
Flames Nation, we're just getting started. Be at Williams Stadium this fall for Liberty Flames football. Head coach Hugh Freeze and the Flames are looking to win their third straight bowl game. Season tickets start at just $70, a savings of 51% from single game prices. Get yours now at lufootball.com. Back to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, presented by Fink's Jewelers. This week's show continues with the thoughts of Liberty head baseball coach Scott Jackson, presented by Beacon Credit Union.
All right, it's time now to visit with the head coach of the Flames as we get ready for opening day weekend. Liberty and Campbell on the road this weekend, 3-game set. And Coach, before we get into the weekend and really the season, I mean, just how excited are you to be coaching a college baseball game again? Because it's been a long time. This is probably the longest offseason you've ever been through, isn't it?
Yeah, no question. It's been an interesting ride, but I'm thankful to have been on it with the guys that I've been on it with, and thankful to be here at Liberty and just the commitment they've made to getting us back on the field and making it as easy as possible. So we're thrilled to death to be representing the school and taking our team on the road to go play some really challenging opponents. It should be fun.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to bring this up, too, because you talk about being here at Liberty and how the support staff has played a big role in this and getting through this pandemic. I mean, I went through it with football and just watching the medical training staff and everyone around here just pulling on the same rope to make sure that we can even compete on the field in all of our sports. I mean, how much of a luxury has that been, even though it's been very challenging?
It's been incredible. Dan Pruser is our head athletic trainer, and I think I've said it at least 25 or 30 times just in the preseason. Like I don't know what I would do without him here. He's able to sit down in my office and lay out a seating chart for the bus. He knows who's tested positive and who hasn't right off the top of his head. I mean, he's just poured into our players and their experience here and to make sure that they stay on the field. I mean, and Scott Lawrenson's been fantastic. Chris Casolo, those guys over there. I mean, no, we can't talk enough about what they've done and certainly the leadership of Ian as well.
Visiting with Scott Jackson, the head coach of the Flames, here on the Clubhouse Report. How challenging is this going to be for these players? Because, again, I know what football had to go through and the bubble and some of the things that are being asked of these guys to say, hey, if you want to play a season, this is what life is going to look like here over the next 3 months. I mean, are these guys ready to take that challenge on?
I think so. I mean, it's just part of our routine now, right? You wear a mask, you distance, and you're vigilant with what you're doing and where you're going and who you're around. So, our guys have been fantastic with it. And I think, we've got an older group that, they've been through it and they value their time on the field and they know what they had taken away from them last year. And so with those things comes, responsibility and discipline and routine. And our guys have been incredible. I think they'll continue to toe the rope here and do their part so that they can stay on the field. They know they owe it to the rest of their teammates. And we've really embraced that well, I think, as a team.
Talking about challenges, certainly scheduling had to take its toll on you as a head coach here in the offseason, just trying to get games and get everything lined up. But you got a pretty good schedule put together here. I think it's 53 games. Got a fair amount of home games as well. But really, to open up the season, I think it's 9 out of the first 10 or something along those lines on the road. That's not really been the formula over the last couple of years. I know you take what you can get, but just how has it been preparing these guys for life on the road?
Yeah, it's, we talk about it. Again, I'll go back to having an older team that, we've played some challenging series on the road. I don't think it'll be anything, that they're not used to. Doing it 3 weekends in a row against the caliber of competition is going to be a challenge. But, the scheduling is, it's interesting how it all played out. And, you get frustrated with it, but it's something that you can't control losing an opponent, but you can control going and finding a quality opponent and having the persistence to call somebody and say, hey, we're available. Can we come? And, when you lose somebody, you have to jump on this. You can't wait around. And we were fortunate to get, UCF. We wouldn't be able to play UCF if our administration wasn't committed to testing at the level needed to play an American Conference opponent. So, I'm so thankful for that. And then we lost a big home series on a bye weekend late in the year. And, Gary Gilmore from Coastal Carolina was willing to come here. To have a quality opponent of that caliber willing to come to Lynchburg was, another blessing for us. And, the Campbell series and the TCU series have been on the books for quite a long time. So those held up. And all of our ACC midweek games held up because, again, Liberty was willing to say, hey, we'll do whatever it takes for you to test at the level to play an Atlantic Coast Conference opponent. So many things that look really good on the paper and on our schedule. That it's a testament to Liberty and the administration and the people here that are willing to allow our program to play that caliber of a schedule.
Visiting with Flames head coach Scott Jackson. And yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, Campbell preseason #1 in the Big South, TCU preseason number 10 in the country, and depending on what poll you look at, but they're ranked everywhere. UCF, great opponent there, great trip going to Florida, playing in great weather, and then just being an ACC country. I mean, very conducive. And hopefully, with the way the schedule and the season play out with testing and all that, everything stays together here. But just a great job getting that all put together. Let's look at your pitching staff now as we kind of get into a little bit more of the nuts and bolts here this weekend. 2/3 of the starting rotation on the weekend looks different. You do get Mason Meyer back, a competitor who's been here the last couple of years, but now a new Friday starter in Trevor DeLate, and then you've also got Trey Gibson, a very special young freshman arm. But what do you think of this starting rotation, and how did it come together?
Well, that's it would take a while, I think, to get all the ins and outs of how it came together. It started with Matt Williams, who wanted more depth. He wanted different looks, and he wanted more depth with our bullpen. And for us to pitch at the level that we want to pitch at and to have a chance to sustain success through the course of a challenging schedule, he wanted that. So, with the pandemic, came the transfer portal. We were fortunate to be able to land, just some unbelievably talented kids through that. So there's some right, there's some left. Frazier Ellard's a great piece for us, an arm slot lefty that can do a lot of different things with the baseball, and that to have him and Mason Fluharty in the bullpen from the left side to join some of those guys that you're familiar with, Landon Riley, Cole Garrett, Mason Hand, and then we added Tyler Germanowski, who's a big right-handed arm for us, and Dylan Cumming as well, who was a transfer from Chicago State. So you put those guys in the bullpen, and then Trevor's just been unbelievably consistent for us as a starter. Just a lot of strikes and a low heart rate, and a guy that you look out there and I think really does a good job of setting the tone. Our guys enjoy playing around him. So you get a left-handed starter, from the transfer portal that was, somebody who's earned that opportunity for us to pitch on Friday. Trey Gibson is about as talented of an 18-year-old as I've ever been around. He's the youngest player on our team, and he's physical, and he's got a really good routine and discipline with what he does every day. Very deliberate about making sure that, his body's in the best shape it can be in. His diet's incredible. He just does a really good job of preparing and listening, and he's got a high aptitude. The ceiling's, very high for him. He's got a chance to do some really special things. And then, there's Mason Meyer, who's been an unbelievably consistent rock for us, in that rotation as well. So, you look at it on paper, it looks great. It's going to be a challenge for, us as coaches to make sure that we get those guys in the right spots and match them up the way they need to be matched up. And, everybody brings a little bit different look out of that bullpen, which is really fun to have. And so I'm excited to watch those guys and just allow them to go out there and compete. It's been a while since they've had that chance.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Coach, as we look to the lineup now, getting a healthy Logan Matthew and a healthy Will Wagner back, how much of a difference do you think that's going to make in this club's ability to score runs? I know you lose Ben Highfill from last year and the great year that he was having, but to get those two guys back and have everyone really just excited to get back out there and play baseball, I mean, is this going to be a fun lineup to watch, you think?
I think so. We're trying to get a long lineup, a lineup that, is tough to get through. And, from an experience standpoint, we check some boxes there. I mean, Betts and Wagner and Matthew and Locklear and McDyer and Rohrer and Guy, those guys are going to be in our lineup, and, they've been around the block, not to mention, Aaron Anderson's an older player, and so is Jake Wilson. So, you've got some pieces there that I like it from an experience standpoint. I don't think the moment's going to be too big for any of them. And I think it gives us a chance to, to settle in and to be able to have hopefully more opportunities to score than we did, early in the season last year. It was definitely a different look for us than we had expected without Logan and Will. Those two kids are very close. They're very good friends. They work their tails off. I think they're good for each other in a lot of ways. And for them to be able to come back and be able to jump in that lineup gives us not just, some power presence, but it gives us some maturity and some veteran, type, presence in there that any lineup would like to have.
Still looking to have Gray Betts in the leadoff spot this year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that kid, it's fun to watch him. He has some long at bats and he's very confident. And, I know he didn't have the year that he wanted to from the start last year. But I'm one of those guys that I've seen him do it at a high level. And, you just keep pushing him back in there, and he's going to start the year there and have hopefully those gritty at bats that he has and be a pain in the tail for a lot of those teams we play. We certainly hope.
Last thought here as we're visiting with Flames head coach Scott Jackson. Campbell coming up this weekend, as we said, preseason number 1 in the Big South, and a chance to go back to your alma mater here as well. I know you played there a few years ago. What are the feelings going down there to play the Camels for your own ball club and the challenge it'll be for them, but then also for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, I like to start with our team, and to play a team of that caliber with that type of momentum that they have right now in an unbelievable facility. I think, that was something right out of the gate when we left the Big South. I wanted to play Campbell and continue to compete against them, not because it was my alma mater, but because it's a good brand of baseball and Justin's done an unbelievable job. And, he's really built something special there. I mean, they're picked again to win their conference. So when you go on the road and you play against a team like that right out of the gate, you find out a lot about your ball club. And so I know they'll give us their best shot. Personally, I've got a lot invested there, 6 years of my life and 2 degrees and a wife from that place. So it's been good to me. I hope it continues to be good to me as we go back there this weekend. But it's a great place and somewhere that I think I don't know that there's a better place for our team to start their season. They've got turf and they've got a great facility, and I think it'll be something that our kids will enjoy and embrace the opportunity for sure.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck coming up here this weekend against the Camels.
Appreciate you, Nick. Have a good one, man.
As always, the thoughts of Liberty head baseball coach Scott Jackson come to us courtesy of Beacon Credit Union. Here's a look ahead to the weekend schedule. The Flames will open the 2021 season Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Liberty at Campbell, and you can hear that one on the radio, 90.9 FM in Lynchburg, Virginia, and streaming online as well at libertyflames.com. Same can be said for Saturday's broadcast, radio and live audio online, and then Sunday's broadcast will be exclusively live online at libertyflames.com. Looking forward to having you with us in some capacity here this weekend. All 3 games also can be seen on ESPN+, and as always, you have our permission to watch as long as you turn down the volume and bring us in from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network with the radio broadcast. So that will wrap up this week's show. Once again, we thank our guests, Cam Locklear, Mason Meyer, and head coach Scott Jackson. Until next time on the Flames Clubhouse Report presented by Fink's Jewelers. My name is Nick Pierce saying enjoy the baseball this weekend. And so long, everybody.
You've been listening to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report presented by Fink's Jewelers. For more on Flames baseball, check out libertyflames.com. You can also follow the team on Twitter and Instagram at Liberty Baseball and on Facebook at Liberty Flames Baseball. The Flames Clubhouse Report is an exclusive presentation from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network.